I'm often asked what are my favorite organizing books or what books did I read before I became certified. The BCPO Handbook, which is the Board of Certification of Professional Organizers, lists about 40 books on the recommended reading list, so it can be a little overwhelming. In this video, I am reviewing that list and breaking it down into more manageable categories. Hi, I'm professional organizer Katherine Lawrence. I help you live a life with less clutter so you can have space for the things that truly matter. So people often ask me, do I have to read every single book on this list in order to become a certified professional organizer or to pass the exam? And what BCPO recommends is that this is a starting point or a point of reference for you. And in addition to self-study, there are other refresher activities that you can supplement your preparation with. So these include meetings and workshops and study groups and recordings of conference presentations and of course taking courses. Now there's some awesome organizing books on this reading list, and you have to work as a professional organizer for 1,500 hours over the last now 5 years before you even sit for the exam. So I think many of these books are worth reading, and certainly you could get through a lot of this list in a couple of years. Now you can substitute some of that 1,500 hours by taking courses, and I'm going to tell you where to get one of those at the end of this video. But just keep in mind that nothing on this list is specifically mandatory, but each of these books will expand your understanding of the world of professional organizing in a little different way. So the way the list is organized is alphabetically. So what I've done is actually reorganize this list into categories. And so I'm going to go through the list broken down a little bit more because I think the way it's organized is not really helpful when you're trying to figure out which books you need to read. So the categories I've broken this down into are ethics, general organizing, learning styles, niches, professional organizer career, productivity, and project management. Let's start with ethics. That's one of the smallest categories. And one of the items listed you can actually find on the NAPO website, which is the Code of Ethics for Certified Professional Organizers. I actually include this in my client agreement with my customers because I want them to know what standards I uphold as I'm going to be working for them, like things like confidentiality. And then there's one other book, which is Ethics for the Real World. I actually haven't read that one. It came out in 2008 after I sat for my exam, which was in 2007. But I did take an ethics course through the Institute for Challenging Disorganization, and I believe NAPO has one now as well. And this essentially is laying out some ethical standards which will help you kind of navigate some sticky situations with your clients, or what is expected of you as a professional. Okay, our next category is the biggest category. I don't know, I think there's about a dozen books in the category that I would call general organizing, which means they're going to take a holistic approach to organizing home and life. And I always tell people, my favorite authors are Morgenstern, Hemphill, and Kohlberg, because these women are really like the founders of what I would consider the modern professional organizing movement. So I think they have a lot of great things to say. Now, their books were published in the late 90s and early 2000s, so you might find them a little bit dated, but those were definitely the books that were essential to me starting my business. So under general organizing, we have making peace with things in your life, less clutter, more life, organize at last, organizing from the inside out. That's what I would consider kind of the foundational one there. There's another one by Julie Morgenstern. Then we've got Lighten Up, Free Yourself from Clutter. It's hard to make a difference when you can't find your keys. Learn to Organize, Organizing for Dummies, Organizing Plain and Simple, The Organizing Source Book, It's All Too Much by Peter Walsh, and Getting Organized. Now, I will say Getting Organized by Stephanie Winston. This you will actually see this book kind of floating around as you're clearing out your clients' houses, because versions of this book have been around, I think, since the late 70s or early 80s. So this was one of the probably first organizing books even in print. And they are recommending the 2006 edition. So what I would do is look at those books as a whole and pick a few, maybe browse each of those and pick a few that look good to you. Like I said, the Julie Morgenstern Organizing from the Inside Out, that came out in 98. So it may seem a little dated to read it now, but I think you'll find that a lot of these books sort of follow that same method. And what will truly make you a professional is that you're taking your clients through a process. And now some of these books aren't even really geared towards people working as professional organizers. They're going to be geared towards people who are trying to get organized in their life. So you might find some tips and tricks that you're going to be passing on to your clients, but you may find that it's a lot of stuff you've already incorporated into your own life. Now, Peter Walsh is on here. He's actually written a ton of books. I've read a few of his books. I love him. I actually met him at a NAPO conference, and his TV show premiered, I think, in like 2003, and I just love the way he communicated with his clients. So he's a favorite of mine. Okay, the next category of books I would put under learning styles. This is Organizing for the Creative Person, Organizing for Your Brain Type, and Organizing from the Right Side of Your Brain. I would definitely recommend reading something from this list. I think the one I read was Organizing for the Creative Person. It's something that's going to be really key for you working as a professional organizer, and something that a certified organizer should certainly understand, and something that they're going to kind of test you on, is that you're going to be working with different people that interpret information in different ways. So the general idea is that, a lot of organizers are very like linear thinking and very logical, and you're going to come into your clients' homes and you're going to want to set up very logical systems for them. And what's going to happen is you are going to encounter people who just, that doesn't make any sense to them. And those are usually considered creative types, or people that are thinking from the right side of the brain. And so these books give you an insight into that personality, and then how to kind of communicate and strategize better with them. And I can 100% tell you from experience, this has happened many times to me. I have a very logical or sequential way of doing things, and you could get some resistance from your clients because they don't really process things in the same way that you do. And so one thing that we need to understand as professionals is that we're going to be dealing with people with different learning styles and different ways of doing things. And we want to have some understanding of where they're coming from to better communicate with them and to create a system of organization that works for them. Now, I've got several books that I would consider sort of niche books, which means they are dependent on the type of client or the type of jobs that you intend on taking. Now, the first one is Conquering Chronic Disorganization by Judith Kohlberg. And I would say the niche is the chronically disorganized. I talk about that a lot in some of my training. But, I think I would recommend everyone read this one, because you may not set out to work with people who are chronically disorganized, but it's very likely that once you become a professional and people start finding you on your website and hiring you, you will encounter people with chronic disorganization. So it's a good idea to kind of know what that is, and understand how to better communicate or assist that person. Then we have Organize Your Garage in No Time by Barry Isaac. A must read if garages are going to be a specialty of yours. Then we have a few in the sort of office paperwork category. Paper Organizing at Home, that's Barbara Hemphill. Again, she is what I would consider, one of the original professional organizers. So she always has some good stuff to say. Terry Mark, Organize Your Office, a small business survival guide to managing records. Now, this one I found that it may not be in print. I couldn't really find a good copy of this on Amazon, or I could only find used copies and it was very expensive. So I'm not so sure about that one. And then another book, which was foundational for me, was Taming the Paper Tiger at Work by Barbara Hemphill. I think that might be out of print. I could not really find a good copy of that on Amazon, and it was published in 1998. So, but you can get Organizing Paper at Home, What to Toss and How to Find the Rest. And I'm assuming she has some of the same sort of foundational pieces in that book. Then under offices as well, I've got Organize Your Workday in No Time and Organized to Be Your Best. And we're kind of getting into productivity a little bit as well with those. So if you think you're going to be working in home offices or office environments, corporate offices or productivity, you're going to want to pick a few from that list to check out. And another niche is students and the Organized Student. Now that's a fantastic book. I did read that one. Students are not a specialty or niche of mine, but if they are going to be part of your organizing business, that's 100% one that you're going to want to read. Okay, our next category is professional organizing career. And there's 3 books here. The Fab Job Guide to Becoming a Professional Organizer, How to Start a Home-Based Professional Organizing Business, and Born to Organize, everything you need to know about a career as a professional organizer. Full disclosure, I didn't read any of these because they all came out after I had been working as a professional organizer. Looks like they were all published in the 2000s, 2005, 2007, 2008. And if any of you guys have read them and want to give me a recommendation, I would love to hear which one you really enjoyed or was helpful for you. Just shoot me an email or put that in the comments of this video. I did find some links to this, and I do know that the Fab Job Guide, it was like $50 on Amazon, but when I went to their site yesterday, were having a special. It was like $5. So if you have a tight budget, I'm sure you can afford to at least get that one, but they're all reasonably priced. Okay, the next big category on this list is productivity. So if you find that you are going to be working as a coach or in a work environment or assisting people with time management, you're definitely going to want to read some from the productivity list. So we've got Getting Things Done by David Allen. Now that's a personal favorite of mine. It really clarifies a lot of things about time management and makes it a very simple and straightforward way to be productive. We have another Julie Morgenstern book, which is Time Management from the Inside Out. That one was published in 2000, so you'll have to see if that's still kind of relevant in our more digital age now. Organizing Your Family's Schedule in No Time. I would think that would be a great book if you are going to be working with a lot of moms or families and kind of organizing around the family. That's not particularly a niche of mine. I tend to work more with seniors, so I'm not around a ton of kids and mothers of young children, but I would think that would be a great resource. I think there's a typo on this list. It just says Va as her first name. I've always known her as Val, and if you go on Amazon, she's listed as Valentina. So, but hopefully you'll be able to find her book. And by the way, I'm putting a list of all of the Amazon links in the description box of this video. If you're looking for something, go ahead and click on one of those links. Now, Harold Taylor, Making Time Work for You. This also is one of the oldest and sort of more classic books on the list. They're mentioning the 2008 edition. I think the first edition of this came out in the 80s. And Harold Taylor's pretty well known in the time management and productivity arena. I think he was a public speaker and author for like 40 years or something. So that might just be good to have as like a foundational understanding of time management and productivity. Okay, the last section on our list is project management. So the books they list are Complete Idiot's Guide to Project Management for Dummies. I think this one has been updated quite a bit. I couldn't find one that seemed new with that author's name, but then, that's the For Dummies series is a whole thing. So they still have a Project Management for Dummies, but it's probably a little more updated edition. Essential Project Management, same thing. I think there's a newer edition of that. This is a little tiny book. So if you have no basis or experience in project management, this one it's a really easy one for you to digest. And then Strategic Project Management Made Simple, Practical Tools for Leaders and Teams. That one came out. It's a little bit newer, 2009. I have not read that one because I was already doing quite a bit of project management before that one came out. Project management, I feel like, is something I use every day on with just about every client. I'm coming in and looking at their home as a whole project, and one of my specialties is whole home downsizing. And in order to do that and take on sort of a whole house and how everything has to work together, you absolutely need some project management skills. And I'm guessing that's something that they're going to be testing for, in a sense of understanding that you're taking someone through a process, and what tools would you use to do that. I love Trello. I use digital action plans in Trello now, and that kind of helps me manage a full project. But that's definitely something that distinguishes a professional from an amateur, is that you can take a client from A to Z. You're not just going to walk into your client's house and just start grabbing stuff and asking them what they think of this and what they think of that. It's a little more complicated than that. And you're going to have to, set up goals and timelines and budgets and break things down into smaller projects and assign tasks to people. And that all falls under the umbrella of project management. And if you're looking for the checklist and the books organized into categories, like I've been going over today, I am going to upload this as a bonus into my Intro to Professional Organizing course, and you'll find a link to that course in the description below. If you're already a student of mine, just go to the Teachable portal and you'll see that it is now listed as a new module in that course. My goal in that course is to give you enough tools that you are confident to start taking clients. I have condensed about 20 years of my education and what I've read and my field experience and attending conferences. I've kind of squished all that down into a couple of hours of teaching to help you launch your business a little faster. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.